So the project invited students to explore the future of artificial intelligence and extended reality. It was a 3-week intensive collaboration. Students were exploring the future of technology and art. The project was equally exciting and challenging because it brought together working with technology that's still very much in development.
So we're working with these small groups of students and they had these fantastic core ideas, and within a very short amount of time they were trying to figure out how they could ramp up within the various technologies that could mean that they could put these onto headsets for people to test them out, which is great because they weren't worried about the fidelity, for example, of the geometry of a model, but more about can we get across the key narrative, the idea, the crux of what was on that.
I was trying to be quite open in terms of how we can let the brief be as open as possible for students to be able to engage with the different areas they wanted to. There were moments where quite a lot of uncertainty, and students were have amazing ideas that then have to narrow down and ground into what could be feasible. But at the same time, they were able to push limitations and go beyond what we would initially expect.
So we had our kick-off workshops and setting the briefs, and then the points along the way, we were just making sure that people were kind of accelerating the development, always trying to put first and foremost is what's the core narrative, what's the idea that you want to convey about this.
I have never used VR before, so the workshop was a very good kind of onboarding process for that. Initially, we had some people come in and talk to us about the technology, about what it's capable of doing, about the softwares that we can use to develop for the technology as well. And it had a very hands-on making-based approach rather than thinking, so it was quite nice to put my thoughts aside for a while and just make.
Our crit sessions invariably became extremely hands-on. We're fortunate in that we had a big amount of room, and suddenly you've got 20-odd people running around, being very physical and acting out what it is that their applications were doing.
I've never done any XR development before, so it's been quite good to sort of dive really headfirst into that.
It's more about I actually get to have fun once because I'm always being super serious with my work. In this one, I'm just trying to really express a simple idea that how I feel and how I should want people to experience it too.
We started this all from piece of paper, ideating how the story might go in different stages. We had 10 different stages, but because of the time zone, we got it down to 5, but it still works.
So this was a very new method for me, and I really enjoyed it. I felt like all of the filmmaking theories, animation theories, it all kind of came together.
We invited people from outside the university as well, from people who are in the industry. If you had questions or if you had an interesting thought or an interesting idea that you needed to bounce around with someone else, I felt that was very powerful and very valuable.
We had this opportunity to work with the Korean National University of Arts in Seoul, and the students there were focusing mainly on artificial intelligence. But having this collaboration between two institutions who are exploring similar areas into different geographies and having different frameworks and approaches, it was quite interesting. And this is hopefully just the beginning.
This is the future generation of designers. These are the people who are going to go out into the world, who are going to build the next generation of things. So really inspiring to see them starting to learn and starting to kind of get to grips and imagine what these technologies might be.
I feel so supported throughout the whole process, and it's really good experience that makes me want to collaborate with people more. I get to see so many amazing artworks from our peers. Everybody is so talented and their concept is just amazing.
I do see myself working in this a lot more now. We're still testing the waters of what can be done. I think that's an exciting place to be in.
For me as an academic and researcher, this brought a lot of interesting knowledge that's being produced nowadays, where this future of this technology might be, and also how much art and design has a say in influencing those spaces as well.